Hello and welcome to our final preview show. We are the Fantasy Threesome FPL podcast. I'm Phil. I'm here with Mike. How are you, Mike?
Well, very well, thank you. And buoyed by the news that we are the number one fantasy sports podcast in Singapore. So shout out to all our listeners in Singapore.
Absolutely. And that voice chuckling there is Anthony. How are you, Ant?
Yeah, just mind blown from that news, mate. Yeah, but other than that, I'm all good. How about yourself?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, me and Mike have just got back from playing football tonight. And yeah, good game. And it was a lot of fun. Mike picked the team. We pick teams when we play football. And to say there were questions...
To be clear, we do pick teams, but myself and the other captain each week, we go to the other side of the pitch and we talk. We pick teams there without people listening in. It's not like you at school where you stood in a line and we pull you out and there's one poor cracker left. Yeah.
And Mike, what he tends to do is not care about having a good game of football. He just wants the best players, and they were incredibly uneven, but we drew.
I do, lads. I mean, it's very much my fantasy football life played out on a Monday night.
Yeah, victory.
Yeah, very much was. But I've just had a bath. But when you have a bath after you've done exercise and you sweat more.
I did exactly the opposite. We've got a large, very large actually. I'm not being arrogant, but it is quite large. Pool in our garden that has been rained on for the last 2 weeks, and is very, very cold. And I just had to splash about in that. It's terrific.
Lovely old stuff, mate.
Daisy, fresh as a daisy, and ready and raring to go.
It is a very nice pool to boot.
I luckily had some mint original source shower gel, so I'm cooling.
Feel the burn.
Yeah, I was going to say that's tingly, isn't it?
It's tingly all over, but it's very nice. You feel fresh afterwards. Anyway,
well, I'm pleased for you both, boys. I really am.
Well, we've lost our Singapore listener.
Yeah,
all three of them.
Come back.
But yeah, so this is our third and final preview podcast, and we've done the two before. Anthony, this time
don't listening back if you missed them. They were of a very shoddy technical nature.
We had some sound issues. I do apologise. But Anthony this time has looked at fixtures and the start of the season, and we will be doing our team reveals, which is very exciting. So, Anthony, do you want to go to you for the teams now? Oh, and I should say we've got a quiz. We've got a quiz, gents.
Oh,
Mike has prepared a quiz. So,
great news.
Back to the regular season classics. For those who haven't listened to us during a season before, it's a lot more exciting than the preview shows. The preview shows are a bit information heavy, but please do enjoy and carry on listening. Over to you,
bringing in those Singaporean listeners, Phil. Keep bringing them in. It's working a treat.
Okay, Ant, got for us?
Yeah, so boys, I've been looking at fixtures. I think I've mentioned on many a pod that my style was very much playing kind of one game week to the next and not looking too far ahead, not quite like Mike's spreadsheets. But I've just had a look at the first 5 fixtures for every team. I just kind of graded them by giving them a rating of 1 to 5. So 1 being what should be a surefire 3 points, 5 being a really, really hard game where you wouldn't expect them to get anything out of. So I've picked out 5 teams, boys, who I think on paper have the easiest start to the season. So those teams are Villa, Brighton, Everton, Manchester United, and Liverpool. And I've got a few kind of crazy stats to kind of go with this as well. So I'm just going to start with Villa, boys.
Crazy! I'm excited. How crazy are these
They're not that crazy. They're not that crazy. I've just really bigged them up for no reason. Yeah, so I'm just going to go run through Villa's start to the season then, boys. See what you think to this. So they start with Watford away, Newcastle home, Brentford home, Chelsea away, and Everton home. Now, obviously, 2 of those fixtures in there are against newly promoted teams. But the only thing for me with Villa is how much of a factor do we think losing Jack Grealish is going to be to them this season?
Well, historically... Go on,
sorry,
Mike,
Phil. We saw their form tail off in the second half of the season when Grealish was injured. But I think the signing of Ings gives it impetus. And Buendia... for all the doubts that I cast upon him in a previous preview pod, does offer some creativity. So I don't think it's going to impact them. I know he's a real talisman for them, but actually I think they've replaced him with quality, particularly with Ings, and Ings can drop deep. I mean, it'll be quite interesting to see how they line up front, whether they play 2 or 3. I know talk is that Watkins will come in off the left and play there, but Ings is very, very capable of dropping and playing a number 10 role. So, I think those fixtures, Chelsea aside, I think
Chelsea aside,
Chelsea aside, that's a really good start.
I think that Ings signing was a really good one, wasn't it? It came out of nowhere, didn't it? I think Phil, you actually broke the news to me, Mike, the night that he signed. There was no rumour, no nothing. He was just signed, 25 million quid. I think he could potentially be a bargain.
That's what I do, boys. I break you news. That's the kind of guy I am.
You are the guy.
What I would say with Villa is, for them as a club, yes, they've got good fixtures. For us as fantasy football managers, the last week has been horrendous because we pretty much had a nailed, the lineup. Watkins is playing up front. Grealish is creating with Buendia, who seems to be, nailed on. They've got Leon Bailey, who, in truth, I don't know enough about to bring him into my squad.
He's an exciting player, guys. He's impressed me from afar with Leverkusen. He's got real pace, trickery. He strikes me as an out-and-out winger, but he could be cutting in from maybe the right-hand side.
My issue is we knew what we were doing with Villa as fantasy managers, and now who starts up front? Is Ings actually going to be playing every week? Is Watkins going to be moved onto the wing? How creative are they going to be without Grealish?
Early doors, boys. Have you seen the injury news? Both Buendia and Watkins picked up knocks in their last pre-season game. Both already down on the game as doubtful, so that's going to put a potential spanner in the works, isn't it? But I think there is a lot of talk, isn't there, of Watkins moving out to the wing to accommodate Ings. I think Ings is a surefire starter for them, certainly. As I say, looking at those games for them, Watford, Newcastle, Brentford, probably looking at 7 points from those. Is that fair?
They've got to be targeting that many points, but you've got to remember Villa at the start of last season had only just stayed up on a goal the season before. That Sheffield United was Sheffield United. They scored against them, and the goal line technology didn't work, and so they literally stayed up by the skin of their teeth. And last season they just kicked on.
Don't say the word literally to Mike. He gets very angry about an improper use of the word literal.
Okay. They stayed up by a yard or so. They stayed up due to a technological issue. Now look what you've made me do.
They turned the goal line technology off, didn't they? They didn't bother putting it back on. It was the first game back after COVID, wasn't it? And I don't think they'd switched it on.
It's unbelievable. But anyway, what I was saying is we don't know what Villa are going to turn up this season.
No.
And with potential injuries, I mean, I was hoping we go big on Villa because their players' prices are half decent. Konsa at the back for Villa is someone I really like having in fantasy football because when
you picked him in your draft team last night, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did a draft for certainly the first time I've ever done a draft, and I was slightly frustrated when it auto timed out on one of my transfers, and I ended up with Timo Werner, which was hugely disappointing.
Not as frustrating as having fat fingers and accidentally selecting Ndidi, which was my personal highlight. Big shout out to Matt Pocket, by the way, for arranging that. We got Stefan de Jong on there as well, didn't we? Who won our league last year, and it was good actually. I did enjoy the old draft, boys. That was good.
I enjoyed it. But anyway, back to
Konsa. Just returning quickly back to Villa. I think they have a little bit of squad depth. Certainly, it does numb their attack, not having Watkins or Buendia, but we've just talked about Bailey. You've got McGinn there as well, who's a real creative force. So, I think against those teams, I think they still have a good run. And, even if Watkins and Buendia are out.
To be honest, if Watkins is out, that might make it easier to pick Ings. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Ings is now 21% ownership, 21.5 now. So, it makes it more sure that he's going to start, doesn't it?
Indeed. Are you ready for my crazy stat, boys, on Aston Villa last season?
You have.
Hold on to your chairs, boys. Here you go. They hit the woodwork 22 times last season, which was the third most in the Premier League. There you go.
That is crazy. It's crazy that
really is crazy.
That your statistic, they didn't even win that stat. They were third.
It's still quite high.
Yeah, it's high, but who hit the woodwork the most?
It's Spurs.
Really?
Which is quite amazing considering they also got Harry Kane, who had the most assists and the most goals last season. So there you go.
Oh gosh, you pack a punch tonight, Anne.
That was a crazy stat.
I told you it's crazy, boys.
I'm very excited for your crazy stat too. Who's your next team?
Well. Oh, here it is. Brighton boys. So here we go. First 5 fixtures for them. Burnley away, Watford at home, Everton home, Brentford away, and Leicester at home. So again, they got 2 of the 3 promoted teams in their first 5 games. Only kind of thing, question mark for them. Ben White, again, we just talked about Jack Grealish leaving Villa. How much of a loss do you think he'll be? I still can't believe personally he's gone for £50 million.
Yeah, that's outrageous. Absolutely outrageous, that.
Interesting to see who comes in there.
Yeah, but my crazy stat, I'll give this to you early, boys, on this one. Brighton kept the 6th most clean sheets in the Premier League last season with 12. Didn't know that. It's a good stat.
He does leave a big gap now, White. I think, obviously, you've got Dunkins who partners him. Duffy was farmed out on loan to Celtic last season. Burn possibly could play there.
Yeah, Brighton have got about 100 injured players. Welbeck out, Johan Bakash out. Matt Ryan, is he still on loan somewhere? Where's he gone? He's been transferred to Real Sociedad. So
yeah, I was going to say he didn't play Arsenal, did he?
Dan Burn got a knee injury. So Lamptey out, Proper out.
So what you're saying basically is Brighton are going to have to do what Bournemouth did in their first game against West Brom and field the kids, basically.
Yeah, I mean, if you're one of those players that plays, for a 1 week punt, defensively, I'm just checking here. They've got Dunk available. They've got Webster, Veltman, and Duffy. They are the only defenders on the game.
Yeah.
What about before that is?
Webster's just signed a new contract. I think he probably takes a spot, given, like I say, that they farmed Duffy out to Celtic last season. I
mean, they'll all have to take a spot. There are only 4 of them.
It's been quite a crazy. It's been quite a crazy pre-season for injuries, isn't it? I don't know if this is a legacy again of COVID. The Euros obviously been. There's been a lot of injuries, boys. I mean, you don't normally go into the first games of the season with teams being so depleted. That's not normal, is it?
Well, I don't know if you saw the Robertson injury last night. I don't know. Has there been an update?
It's good news on that, actually. Yeah, so it's not broken. It's not as bad as I thought. It's got ligament damage, but I think it's more short term than long term. Which was, I mean, when you see the video, you do wonder how, really, don't you? I mean, his ankle was going the opposite way to his leg, so that is great news for Liverpool.
If on Brighton, sorry to I know I
deviate.
I took us off on it. Yeah. So Duffy is 4 million, and they've only got 4 defenders, including Duffy. So if you want a cheap route into what will be a makeshift defence,
oh, he's singing already.
Thank you,
Get him back in that ice cold bath.
But what happened to Duffy? She became a recluse, didn't she?
I'll find that out. You tell me, and you tell me what players we should be looking at for Brighton.
Well, I've gone Dunk, boys. I'm sorry to spoiler alert in my team, but I have gone Dunk. Trossard is another one, I think, offensively. Mopé now, second season. Could he potentially be one to look at if you're looking for a third striker? Mike's shaking his head.
Not for me, Clive. Not for me.
I think the reason I highlighted the defensive stat on Brighton was because I think that's where I would be looking if you were looking for cheap assets, potentially be in the defensive region, not offensively. But I mean, boys, those are not difficult games. Everton, we don't know how they're going to be. They do look a bit dodgy under Rafa in pre-season, but take Leicester out of that, boys. They're winnable games, aren't they? Burnley, Watford, Brentford.
They are. The player that a lot of people are going for is Sanchez in goal, 4.5 million, 22.9% ownership, and he is someone who he gets a lot of save points. And he's going to have to make a lot of saves. I mean, they have only got 4 defenders, and it looks like players are out for a while. So it's not even short term. Lamptey has got 25% chance of playing. He's got a hamstring. Burns 25% chance of playing. These are not short term, and there are other defenders on the game that have been transferred out. So, to other teams. So they have very limited choices. So Sanchez may not be keeping the clean sheets that we'd hope.
No, but I mean, going back to the Mike, just saying, going back to the offensive side, they only scored 40 goals last season in the whole of last season. So, Mope really needs to step up from this season, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
What? Just to be clear, was that your crazy stat, the defense one?
Well, I thought it was quite crazy. I mean, if you
that was a crazy stat.
That was a mistake. My crazy stats aren't crazy, boys. I mean, they were a lot ahead of a lot of much bigger teams. I mean, for them to be sixth, I thought was pretty impressive myself, considering they finished, I think, 16th did they last season.
Hit us up with a really crazy stat for your third team.
Well, I thought you'd want to know about Duffy.
The singer, please do, yeah.
In 2020, she explained her long-term absence from the music industry, saying she'd been abducted and raped. So horrendous.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah.
How do you feel about
that,
Mike?
Well, just incredibly uncomfortable about the whole vibe of it. I'm sorry.
Well, you wait till you wait to hear this next crazy stat. This is going to make you feel a
involved
whole lot better.
Yes,
boys,
go.
Liverpool next. Here we go. Norwich away, Burnley home, Chelsea home, Leeds away, and Palace at home. Crazy stat. They missed the most big chances last season, boys. 68 big chances went a begging.
Sorry, what team is this?
Liverpool.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice start, that.
Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, so again, Norwich, they seem to like having their opening game against Norwich. Burnley, Chelsea's a tough one. I think Chelsea are going to be right in there this season. Leeds, but Palace at home as well. 3 out of the 5, boys, very winnable. Salah, I think, is he just a player you have to have in your team?
For me, he is, yeah. I don't think he left my team all season last year. And it's not because I'm boring. There's an element of, differentials and stuff. That is good, but you need your bread and butter. And if you haven't got Salah and Salah scores, you immediately drop behind loads of people in your mini league.
It's true. Mike, is he going to be in your team?
No.
Oh.
I agree with Phil, but no, not going to be in my team. No.
Really? How come? Who have you got instead then?
It's too pricey. There's real value in midfield, and I've got a good spread across the whole squad at the moment, which I'll come to later. But yeah, not for me, Clive on Salah, I'm afraid.
Wow. Okay. Any other assets for me now? I think Mike, you got him in your draft. He's another one, isn't he? I mean, I think to be honest with you, a lot of those big chances missed were potentially by him.
Yeah,
but...
I quite like Firmino. I like Jota. I think Jota's real value at 7.5. And then, of course, you've got some defensive assets there that you might want to look at. Trent is obviously the obvious one, but he's a huge amount of money at 7.5 for a defender, the most expensive defender, obviously, in the game. Yeah, don't know about Liverpool. I'm not convinced. Last season was a real disappointment. And really, I mean, they talked about having loads of injuries. Really, they were a bit short in defence. But aside from that, I suppose they had players compensating from midfield, dropping in. I see them finishing. I don't see them finishing in the top 3. I see United. Now I see United, Chelsea, and City. All three of those finishing above them.
Good grief!
Yeah, Phil.
They had that kind of complete brain fade, didn't they, in the middle of the season, where they went from 50 odd games they'd not lost at Anfield, and they then lost 6 on the trot, and confidence really seemed to drain. But they actually picked up well in the end, didn't they? Towards the end of the season, and boys, you got back on the Liverpool train, didn't you? Right at the right time, and that's. Phil, when you overtook me near the end, I attributed a lot because you put your faith back into Liverpool assets and I didn't.
Yeah, I went for it because I had to kind of trust that Trent would kick on, and luckily he did. It was lucky, lucky really. But with Liverpool, they've got quite an aging team. They're not young. If you look at
a team that's gone very stale.
Yeah, I still don't get me wrong. I still want Salah and potentially Mane as well. But we'll discuss that later when we do our team reveals, I suppose. But I still think Liverpool are going to be good going forward. I think Jota at 7.5 million, I think he's going to play more than Firmino. I think he's going to take over Firmino's role. I think he'll have had another pre-season. although a short one, where he's a bit more time to learn the way that Klopp wants him to play. The other signing that I'm seeing going into a lot of teams is Tsimikas, who's their backup left back. So he's obviously with Robertson out for the short to medium term. You got Tsimikas, who's £4 million on the game, and he's crept up to 4.8% ownership. Last season, he played 6 minutes of football. Konstantinos Tsimikas, but I think if they're going to have to play someone at left back, and it's not the sort of thing where Fabinho can drop in there. Maybe Milner, he's done it before, but you've got a backup left back, so you may as well play him.
Goalkeeper wise, Alice.
Sorry, they had a backup left back when Milner was playing left back. If you remember, they had the young Spaniard, whose name I forget now, but who they've since let go.
Moreno.
Yeah, it may well have been. I mean, Reina's a goalkeeper, isn't he?
Moreno, he said Moreno.
Oh, Moreno. Yes, it was. Right, that's right. It was Moreno, and he was frustrated at the lack of game time. He was a left back. He was a perfect fit, but they decided to put a round peg in a square hole.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Tsimikas is nailed on. He's 4 million, so if you haven't got 3 other Liverpool players, he may be worth a punt. But I wouldn't want him taking up my Liverpool slot. And I fell for this last year and the year before when Alisson got injured and I bought in Adrian in goal, thinking, well, it's a cheap Liverpool player, but that doesn't always guarantee points. James Milner is 35 years old now, so you can't see him playing week in, week out.
No.
But he still gets up and down, doesn't he? He's a great servant.
So I don't think this touches massively on what we're going to come to. So I've stated my top 4. I think it looks something like City, Chelsea, United, and then Liverpool a little bit behind those 3. How do you boys see it?
It depends. For me, Van Dijk is crucial for Liverpool. He's 6.5 on the game. He's got 10% ownership at the moment. If they get Van Dijk back how he was, he transforms that team. He gives the midfield confidence that they can push on a bit. And he gives the goalkeeper a bit more confidence as well, that he's going to be protected. Last year, I know you said they had a few injuries, but they were playing 2 kids at centre-back or not kids, but very young players or a midfielder. So they were big injuries and, you felt for them at times. So I think him coming back, whether they'll rush him back straight away, I don't know whether Van Dijk will be straight in, to pick up the Premier League pace. I'm not sure. He's been playing bit parts in friendlies, but it's been good to see him out there. You got Joe Gomez, you got Matip, you got Konate, so they're not now short on fit defenders. So I wouldn't rush him back too much, would you?
No. I mean, just going back to the top 4, I'm completely with Mike. I mean, City, you can't look past them, can they? Especially when they're spending £100 million on Grealish. I think it's quite interesting there, wasn't it? Looking at, I think what it shows that kind of the squad depth they've got. That the Community Shield historically for me was always a game that the 2 teams playing in that would pick their first 11 that they would like to play in their first Premier League game. And City fielded the kids, didn't they? Or they certainly gave a couple of players I've never heard of. Leicester, I think, very much played their kind of first team. But
yeah,
City
I think
really
you had players coming back. Yeah, players coming back from international duty. So I think that does play a part. You've had the Copa America and the World Cup. Sorry, Euros. So there were a lot of players coming back from that, maybe that weren't involved to the same level that City players had been for Leicester. But yeah, they certainly have got one hell of a squad, as we know to our cost last season and prior to that as well. So.
And I think
who's your team 4?
Hang on a second. Can I? Craig is watching along. Has pointed out that Mane was passing to Salah a lot the last 10 games of last season, so Salah could get the golden boot, and he missed a lot of chances. And he doesn't think Mane will pass so much at the start of the season. I happen to agree. And Mane and Salah have had a whole summer off. A lot of the defences they're going to be playing against have been in the Euros or the Copa America. I think they're going to be really handy. He also says that Gomez may switch to left back, which is a good call as well. So I wouldn't be rushing to get Tsimikas in. I was surprised Firmino's got 5% ownership.
Yeah, Agreed.
He's never been a great fantasy asset.
He does. Well, I just said I think he does miss a lot of chances, but like Mike also said, he's pretty much guaranteed to start. Right, boys. Team 4 then.
Yeah, let's go.
Manchester United. So they start with Leeds at home, Saints away, who I think will go down, Wolves away, Newcastle home, and West Ham away. And my crazy stat, boys, about Manchester United, you may know this, but it certainly passed me by. They went unbeaten away from home in the whole of the Premier League last season, which was only the 4th time in Premier League history that a team had done that. Remained unbeaten away from home. Pretty impressive stuff. 3 away games in their first 5. Lump on Fernandez, do we think, boys?
No.
Oh.
I think the fans are back now. I think that'll make a big difference for away. You know, away games were statistically easier than they have been.
But Saints, Wolves, West Ham, maybe apart from West Ham, I don't see too many issues there for them. Saints, I think, will go this year. Rumours today, I think they've had a bid accepted for Armstrong of Blackburn, but other than that, they've sort of lost Danny Ings, which was huge for them. I mean, where's the goals going to come from there? So I think that's nailed on.
What price? What price? If Armstrong was to come in, what price would he have to be to get in your team?
Low, 5 mil, 5.5, 6 maybe.
I think he's a born goal scorer. I remember him on loan at Coventry as a kid. Really impressed there. He's gone to Blackburn. He's been consistent for them. I really like him, and I think he's a natural born goal scorer, and I think he will step up to that level. I think if he was 6.5, I'd be interested. In another team, I'd probably pay a bit more for him. But Southampton, to me, they're a team that I think are going to struggle. So, yeah.
So assets and boys from United. I'm thinking defensively, Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, both had brilliant Euros for England. I think they're both about 5.5 million in the game. Nailed on to start. Are we looking at those kind of assets for them defensively?
Yeah, and your boy Wan-Bissaka from last season, and he
was good for me.
He didn't go to the Euros, did he? So he should be fresh.
He should. I don't know if did you guys see the highlights of their friendly against Everton? I mean, they did tear him apart. But Harry Maguire again was brilliant. Scored a great header from a Luke Shaw corner. So Luke Shaw, I think we've flagged up before, is on set pieces. He's definitely one I think I'm going to have in my team. Fernandez as well. I mean, he tailed off badly at the end of last season, but he looked on it again. He scored a brilliant free kick, and he celebrated like it was the winner, boys, as well, like in a massive game, which was quite unusual for a friendly. He was loving it. He seemed to be back on form. Everton, who I thought, I mean, they're actually my next team, but Everton look like there was a bit of trouble there. DCL looks injured, so maybe they might not have the flying star that I'd earlier predicted they could have.
I think for me, the one that really excites me in the United squad is Sancho. I think at 9.5, I think that's a steal. I think that's a steal given his stats over in Dortmund. I think he'll definitely play. It's whether he starts that
straight away.
game.
Do you think? I was going to say, do you reckon he'll get straight in the first team?
That's the dilemma, and I think he's one I'll bring in a couple of weeks' time. But I'll definitely be bringing him in, and I would have him over Fernandez. If we fast forward 2 weeks, I'd have him over Fernandez because I think he'll create so much more.
Yeah.
Referees have been told not to give as many, lightweight penalties, lightweight free kicks, and we saw. Certainly, I noticed it in the championship games over the weekend. Referees are letting a lot more go. It's much better football to watch because silly little dives on the floor, the refs are just ignoring it.
Philip Billing did take some. Yeah, I mean, Philip Billing absolutely took somebody out, didn't he? Fairly early doors in the West Brom game. Absolutely cleaned him out. Play on. Yeah, they did it in Euros, and it did make for a much better game, didn't it? The game just flowed so much better.
But you've got to look at Fernandez. He's £12 million, and I still think he's a decent asset in the game. Don't get me wrong. I still think he's one of the top sort of 2 or 3 players you should have. But penalties are a big part of his game. Free kicks are a big part of his game. So you're going to lose some of that potentially. Will he be worth 12 million? It's so much money in the game.
It's a lot of money, isn't it? $500,000 cheaper than Salah, though.
Yeah,
but
Salah,
$500,000 is worth.
Salah gets goals out of nothing.
But it
in
was
my
good for
opinion.
me to see Fernandez back on it because, as I say, he tailed right off. I mean, on the fixtures, Leeds, Saints, Wolves, Newcastle, West Ham, maybe Leeds on the opening day might not be as easy as we think. Leeds had a great season last season.
I think it's a great run for them. I've definitely targeted them with a couple of players in my squad. Interesting, obviously Rashford is injured, so I think that accelerates Sancho's starting spot, even more so.
What does that mean for Greenwood?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think it maybe gives Greenwood a start. I think Greenwood will start the first game, and then you've got him and Martial probably fighting for that spot that Sancho will eventually take.
So in your head, is Cavani playing week in, week out because he's 8.5 million?
No, I don't think he is.
No.
I think that's a lot of money for a player who I think will be a bit part this season.
So who will they have up top? Anyone?
Martial, Greenwood, Sancho.
Okay. But so as a fantasy football manager, it's not really very handy, is it, having any of those players because you just don't know. I mean, Sancho will play. They're not going to pay that much money for a player and not play him.
Correct.
But,
yeah, and Ole's not afraid to.
Ole.
He's not afraid to play a player consistently week in, week out, because you saw with Fernandez last year. I mean, he absolutely worked him to the bone. He played, I don't know how many games consecutively, an awful lot of minutes. And I think the same will happen to Sancho. I think he'll play him week in, week out. Just give it a couple of weeks.
It's interesting to see if you look at the ownership on their page, the Manchester United page. You've got Lingard, who's got 3.6% ownership. He's priced at 7 million.
He's also got COVID.
Oh, has he?
He's got COVID at the moment. Yeah.
That's not good. I hope he's all right.
Not ideal. That's something else, boys. We need to factor in still COVID. I just saw today, actually, just before we came on the pod, there's about 9 players have tested positive. They haven't revealed who they are. There's about 9 players are going to miss the first weekend of the season due to COVID. So you may, that's kind of thing's not going to be announced till late, is it? Which could throw some teams' plans up in tatters.
Well, that's what we said on the pod a couple of weeks ago is that you're going to need a bench. You can't have bench fodder this season, as we found out. Well, as I found out to my detriment last year, you need to have players that can come on if late on you get calls where people have got COVID or they've been in contact with someone who's got COVID. Unless you're Boris, you can't get away with that. You have to isolate. So, another player they've got is Brandon Williams, who's 4 million on the game. He's got a 3% ownership, probably because of his price, but also there are rumours of him going out on loan to Southampton.
So, how are you still talking while Mike's seductively eating a Magnum in front of us there?
Oh, I in truth, I wasn't watching him. Was not watching him.
I was completely distracted.
I was looking at Man United page.
Oh, thank you, Craig. 19 players and staff.
You not even noticed, Phil, that I'd gone. Ran to the freezer, got a Magnum, unwrapped it, came back unmuted.
Oh, boys, there's video here, but I don't tend to view it. I'm too busy looking at facts I can throw in and be helpful with, whilst you're off getting Magnums.
Sorry about that.
Is it?
We all have our uses.
Actual Magnum or a Tesco Magnum? Or
it's an actual Magnum, and it's a classic.
Oh yeah.
It's
nice. Much like S Club Party by S Club. It's a classic.
Are you,
boys?
I mean, surely the white chocolate one's the best.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh, too rich for me. I'm a mint Magnum fan. That's my favourite.
I mean, there isn't a bad Magnum, is there?
Mint Magnum.
Well, that's not bad.
Billionaire's shortbread, I would say, is very, very rich, and the cookies and cream one is as well.
I mean, rich is still good in my book, but anyway. Right, boys, 5th and final team, although I may have just changed my mind on this. I had highlighted Everton due to the fact that they had Saints at home, Leeds away, Brighton away, Burnley home, and Villa away. Little stat there on Everton. He had 640 successful tackles last season in the Premier League, which was the 4th highest.
That's a really uncrazy stat.
I
was scraping the barrel by this point, boys. I was very tired. I'm sorry.
Underwhelmed with these crazy stats. Did they do that whilst wearing cheese graters on their arms?
Yes.
or they jettison in from a hot air balloon before each of those games?
Absolutely, they did.
Are all their middle names Fred?
I will try and find some more crazy stats for next week, boys. I'm sorry to disappoint you with my crazy, non-crazy stats.
Not some more crazy stats, just some crazy stats.
Okay.
Oh, he looks furious. He looks furious. The 1 week he actually does research.
I can't tell you the amount of time I put into this, boys, but that's fine. You carry on. You mock away.
We can estimate about 10 minutes.
No, a lot longer than that. I will send you the notes afterwards, boys, but that's fine. You carry on. So Everton, anyway, boys. DCL injured. James wanting to leave because Carlo Ancelotti's no longer the manager. So who might we be looking at?
Well, rest assured, it's not Asmir Begovic.
I mean, did you see the goal he conceded the other day? Hilarious.
No, I saw the other week he scored a penalty. He saved a penalty in a shootout and scored the winning penalty. So that was exciting.
Yeah, I mean, he got lobbed with a ball that was only just over his head because he didn't jump against Man United the other day. It's quite funny. I think it skimmed his bowl patch actually on the way through. As I say, DCL injured. Anyone else, boys?
Sigurdsson, I assume is out due to legal stuff. I mean, with Everton, we don't know. So if you're an early wildcarder, which you might play a wild card. Last year, I think all of us played it after game week 1. I will not be doing that this year.
Why did we? Was that because Mike convinced us to do it? Must have been.
Yeah, he's just got that much power to do that and influence on us. But Everton, they haven't impressed pre-season. They've got Richarlison's been at the Olympics. Hammers, like I say, doesn't want to be there. Sigurdsson's out due to strange reasons. You've got Calvert-Lewin's injured. Digne is 5.5 million. He's their highest owned player at 21% ownership. He's always good for some points. Got 120 points last season.
I mean, it's
interesting. Sigurdsson last year outpointed Digne.
That's ridiculous because he was on the bench quite a lot as well.
As did Michael Keane, who you had in your team a lot.
Good old Michael Keane. Yeah, I did have him a lot. Yeah, but which is a shame for them in terms of the injuries because they're very winnable games, aren't they? Certainly, if you look at Saints, Brighton, Burnley, they are winnable games for them. But asset-wise, we're struggling. We're scraping the barrel, aren't we?
It gives them half a chance. I think Genie is the only one I'd look at myself. But
yeah, I mean, Rafa needs a. I mean, it feels like there's a bit of unrest there already, doesn't it? Rafa needs a good start to get the fans off his back, doesn't he?
He does.
Protests apparently at the United game in some quarters. So if he needs a winning start.
Everton are very much a team you need to see who they start. If Damari Gray is in that starting lineup, then he will quickly move to mine. 5.5 million. He's a dangerous player.
He looked lively second half against United. He did look lively.
Yeah, if he starts, then he's somewhere I might look at. Keane, 5 million, so he's 0.5 cheaper than Digne, and he does like scoring a header from a corner. But yeah, there's so much. I mean, I wouldn't have an Everton player in my starting lineup now, just because I don't know who's going to start. And going into the first week of the season, you don't want to have to immediately take out a player because he's not, getting near the pitch.
Could the fact that they've got Saints at home swing it for you though? Because that is a very winnable game.
It is, but it's a huge punt. I mean, Keane should start. So, if you want a route into their defence, Keane, 5 million on the game. But apart from that, who else you're going to know is nailed on to start?
Yeah,
they haven't got a great squad actually.
Iwobi?
Yeah, but he's not nailed on to start. He plays in dribs and drabs, doesn't he?
I think Damari Gray will be in that starting team. I think there's like you've highlighted, either unrest or players injured. They haven't got many options, to be honest with you.
Damari Gray 5.5. It's not a bad chat. I think I flagged it up in a previous pod.
I mean, who are they going to play up front? They got no Calvert-Lewin. Richarlison's been at the Olympics, so he may have to just come back and get chucked on because they have no other options. I can't even see like a youth team player on the game that they can throw up front.
Get your boots on, Phil. You're on.
Well, I nearly scored. I don't want to talk about it, but I nearly scored a very good goal tonight.
You don't want to talk about it, but you said you had your best game for years or something, wasn't it? Was the line?
Okay, you convinced me. I nearly scored a good goal tonight. I tried a forward scissor kick, like Di Canio. I mean, it didn't look as good, I'm sure, but from a corner.
No.
It didn't.
But you didn't get
okay.
injured, which at your age has got to be a bonus.
All right, it's my birthday tomorrow.
I know. Oh, you're going to ruin the ending. Unbelievable. That's fine. Mike, it feels like you're like begging to get this quiz started.
Oh, well, I will do, but I feel like I've been a bit harsh on your crazy stats, and I maybe just wonder if it was just the delivery. It was quite... So why don't we try that last Everton one again? I'll do a bit of music, a bit of build-up.
Okay.
And I'll give you like a jingle, and then you can do it over the top, okay? Here we go.
Okay. Everton boys.
No, not yet. Wait.
This one done though.
Wait. It's Anthony's crazy stats. Go on.
640 successful tackles for Everton last season, the 4th highest.
Yeah.
Well, that does feel crazier.
That does feel a lot crazier.
Yeah.
I 100%. When you said I feel like I've been harsh, I 100% thought you were going to say that about the goal that I nearly scored, where you've flat out.
You're still talking about that.
I almost scored another one where I controlled it on my knee, and then volleyed it first time. If I'd have fallen over it, maybe it, gone under the bar, but it went over. Anyway, we don't need to talk about this. Apparently, but
we do need to do a quiz.
Are irrelevant. So quiz me up. Maybe I can do well at that.
Well, let's play. We're going to play Who Am I, lads? Okay. Where it's going to work is you can shout your name at any time, and I'll stop talking, and I'll say, Phil says Phil. I'll say, okay, Phil. If you guess the incorrect answer, you have one spare life with each player. I'm going to start reading you some of their Wikipedia. Some of it will be about their personal life. Some of it will be about them as a player and where they've played. You get one life per question. If you get it wrong, you've got one. Do you know what I mean? You've got one more go at
player.
It. So
I thought
how many players? There are 5 players. So for example, if I started talking and I said, this guy nearly scored, had the best game of his life tonight because he nearly scored a goal, Phil would shout,
Phil.
Yeah. And then what's your answer?
Me, I did score 2 goals actually.
Yeah, all right. Phil, focus.
Your best mate.
Well, let's. Oh man!
Don't make it about me.
If you said Richarlison, Phil, you'd lose a life, and then you'd only get one more guess for this player.
Okay,
that makes sense.
Okay.
Meanwhile, 2 guesses. Okay, right.
Let's do it.
Blimey! Here we go then.
Still in the
Yep, I am. Okay. Question number 1. Player number 1. Who am I? I am married and I have 4 children. I suggested in February 2019 that clubs whose fans engage in racial abuse should be deducted points. During 2019, I endorsed Sarah Kumar, the Conservative Party candidate in the West Ham constituency. I began my career at non-league Tooting and Mitcham before signing with Reading. Yes, Phil?
Mark Noble?
It's not Mark Noble. The club Reading, sent me on loan spells to Cheltenham Town, back to Tooting and Mitcham, Southampton and Colchester, as I struggled to find a place in Reading's first team. A final loan spell with Sheffield Wednesday resulted in a permanent move, where I would make 64 appearances and score 12 goals. Then I'd go to Nottingham Forest,
Phil.
Wednesday.
Phil.
Oh no.
Michael Antonio.
Oh, is this gonna...
It is Michael Antonio. Yeah. Very good.
Just gonna say it.
Now.
Damn it.
Okay. So you've got your 2 life. You've got your 1 life back again.
Thank you.
Here we go. Who am I? Player number 2. I and my wife Maggie, spelt like the food type Maggie, Maggi. I'm not quite sure what the food type is. It's some kind of margarine or something.
No. They do like dried spice mixes to rub on chicken.
Lovely.
More popular in mainland Europe than here, in truth.
My wife Maggie, named after the popular spices that you rub on chicken, and me got married in 2013. We had a daughter called Makkah, not named after Paul McCartney, but actually named in honor of the Islamic holy city of Mecca.
Not
I've got another daughter. Oh, or Macapaka. Maybe that's her middle name. No. Maybe that's who Macapaka's named after. Maybe after Mecca. I have another daughter called Kyan, born in 2020. I am a Muslim and I celebrate goals by performing the sujud. Apologies to any Muslims if I've got that wrong. The gang
Kyan
over
from
in
Go Jetters.
Singapore or
Who
anywhere
is
else.
this?
On my goal celebration, I once told CNN, it's something like praying or thanking God for what I've received. But yeah, it's just praying and praying for a win. I've always done that since I was young and everywhere. In November 2020, I tested positive for coronavirus.
Phil.
Oh, yes.
No, he would never have been married then because he'd be too young. Ian Atcho.
You have one life left, Phil.
And
No lives left. That's it. Okay, so
And-
you got one guess. Are you going now?
yeah,
Good.
Mahrez.
It's not Mahrez.
Oh, damn it.
I started my senior career with Egyptian club Al Mokalwoon.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
Phil.
we know.
Mohamed Salah.
Had to be. It's got to be.
That's not a dramatic pause. I was just trying to swallow my magnum. Yes, it is Mohamed Salah.
Soon you said Egyptian.
Oh, dear.
Thank you very much.
2-0. What a birthday boy.
So he's got a son named after a Go Jetter. That's exciting.
Isn't it?
I mean that must be what it is.
Kyan.
Macapacker's not a go-jetter.
No.
Oh, Kyan. That's very CBB central, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, I'm player number 3. I was born in. I've just scripted that myself.
Very good.
Thank you. I'm player number 3.
This is like through the keyhole for people of an age.
Oh, Lloyd.
Well, it's now. Sorry, lads. Some of the younger listeners.
Oh,
will
it's
know
Keith
that.
Lemon, isn't it?
Lemon.
Yeah,
What?
Very good. Yeah, it's a true story.
They've
I'll
revamped.
be honest. It's like the Masked Singer, lads. Let's face it. Just without the singing.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So is Lloyd Grossman just sticking to making bolognese sauces?
Yeah, basically.
very expensive bolognese sauces.
They're
Anyway,
very
Yeah.
garlicky, which isn't a bad thing in my opinion. They're not a bad sauce, for a jarred sauce.
hello, I'm player 3. I was born in Grantham, Lincolnshire, and I was raised in a small village nearby called Norwell. I joined Nottingham Forest's academy as an 8-year-old. I was described by the Yorkshire Evening Post as not your typical footballer. I play the piano, violin, guitar, saxophone.
Oh no, you violin.
Patrick Bamford.
It is Patrick Bamford.
Oh, bloody hell! As soon as you
Read
said
it. Pepper
violin,
it, please, Vic,
very good.
Okay. Hello, I'm player 4. I commonly use only my first name on my shirt. According to my uncle Stephen, this is because of a family feud with my father, Ron, who abandoned my mum and my siblings during my childhood. It's got a bit bleak. I'm married, though, to my childhood sweetheart, Reich Nudegat. And we've got 2 daughters, Nyla, born in 2014, and JD, born in 2016. According to some sources, I have Chinese ancestry. My mother is part Chinese descent, and her surname Fu Siu derives from the surname of my maternal great-grandmother, Chin Fu Siu. Anyway, let me talk about my career.
Please.
I started with. Sorry.
I mean, I'm gonna start my birthday listening to you pronounce names from all over the world.
Chinese descent. That's good. I'm disappointed you haven't got it already. I started my career with Groningen, then moved to Celtic, where I won the Premiership and was named in the Scotland team. Yes,
Virgil van Dijk.
it is Virgil van Dijk. Incredible stuff from Phil Botto.
Good knowledge.
Okay, then, Phil, for the quick clean sweep and for just a particle of pride. Hello, I'm player number 5. I'm the son of Adi, who shares a surname with me, a former striker with non-league Bath City and Gloucester City, who works as a scout for Chelsea. Off the field, I've been praised for my charitable work. I spent Christmas Day 2013 feeding homeless people. I was given the number 3 shirt by Ipswich Town in 2014-2015.
Phil.
And,
I don't know who this is.
Tyrone Mings.
Well, 5 out of 5. And with every question answered, as Phil went to answer, I know who this is.
I did. I did.
Oh no!
I didn't answer because it was his birthday. I wanted him to make him feel good about himself.
What's incredibly irritating is that I am terrible at these games during the season, and during the season, if we lose these games, then we give over our captain pick to a listener, and it's incredibly irritating that I've won on something that means nothing.
Well done.
Yeah. Actually, if I can, before we move on to our team reveals, just want to talk about the prize hamper this year that we're going to be giving away.
Yes.
Each week, the one person with the lowest score, will have their captain picked by a listener the following week. But
whoa! The lowest score on fantasy football, or the lowest score in the quiz?
The lowest out of us three.
In fantasy football.
Correct.
We'll not be having our captain pick. The captain pick is decided by the game and the week, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. Sorry. Okay, let me come back to that.
As you were.
Each week, the lowest score of the three of us each week will have to contribute a prize to the prize hamper, and that prize must be at least sellable on eBay for £5.
That's exciting, isn't it?
So we're looking at £200, upwards of £200 worth in our prize hamper.
I once
no wonder we've got so many listeners in Singapore. Good grief!
Genuinely, I once sold a signed picture of myself on eBay for £20.
Sorry, did your mum buy it?
No,
Oh,
no,
good
someone from Cheltenham way, I think they were. But yeah, it was me holding a putter behind my neck, going, waving while standing on top of my stairs.
20 English pounds on eBay. Good grief!
20 English pounds. Yeah, I mean it was for charity, but still.
Well, for any reason.
I don't know, have you got
an eBay value?
Have you got your prize ready for the hamper?
Oh, absolutely not.
Oh, well, you've got until the end of the show, lads, to come up with something.
Oh, okay.
Because I did text you yesterday, and
I couldn't find anything.
I've got a brand new Bluetooth speaker.
Oh, nice!
God, he's going big. I mean, I was thinking like a bar of chocolate.
It's got to be worth £5 or more, Anthony.
Yeah, that's not going to be worth £5, is it?
The first week. So have a little think. But yeah, that's on the line. There's a Bluetooth speaker. Very exciting. Right, team reveal time.
Let's do this. So we'll go position at a time, or should we just do each individual team?
No, let's do position.
Okay. Now I've got to put my hands up here and make an admission. I've got a slight issue.
Well, we know that.
Yeah, for sure.
More than one.
Thank you. I have many issues, but this issue regarding fantasy football is I had a good team that I was happy with. Then I thought, I wonder if you can get Mane, Salah, and Fernandes all in a team and have still not a horrendous team. So I saved it just to see if I could. I saved the team, and I cannot remember who I had before.
I hate that.
So at the moment, my team is abysmal and will be unlikely to be my starting team.
Well, that's disappointing.
Tell me about it. Because at the moment, I can't remember who my team was. The only player I know that was nailed, well, we'll get onto that. So
we'll get onto that.
Goalkeepers then.
Talk about our keeper combos. Let's talk about keeper combos because we've all got two. I've got Dean Henderson in. Now, I think Henderson will be starting. He will be their number one keeper this season, but I don't think he starts the opening game because he's recovering from COVID. So I've got a backup keeper and a very strong backup keeper, I would say, in Kasper Schmeichel.
Wow.
That's a lot of money on goalkeepers.
Well, yeah. Both of them are 5 mil.
Are you not going to have that thing in the back of your mind that you're wondering which one to pick, though?
I think, in truth, what I'll probably do is move Kasper on once Henderson starts playing regularly.
Okay.
I think I'll free up some money there. I'll free up $1 million because I'll swap him out for a 4 million or maybe $500,000 by swapping out for a 4.5. But yeah, at the moment, I need to have both keepers in there. I want Henderson in it for the long term, but I probably need Schmeichel for the short term.
I don't think I've ever done rotating keepers. It just seems like a decision I've got to make every week that I wouldn't have to make if I just had one goalie.
Lazy.
Thank you.
Go on then, Phil. So who have you gone for?
My keeper combination is Sanchez of Brighton. and Sondergaard of Wolves. Andreas Sondergaard,
Never heard of
who,
him.
well, he's got bleached blonde hair, doesn't look older than 13 and a half. So he's 4 million on the game. And it's not just me who's picked him. 1.2% of all teams
Well,
have picked
Patricio
Sondergaard.
is injured at the moment.
I still don't think they're going to play someone who looks that young, but we'll see. But he's just a 4 million keeper on the bench. And
I've got Martinez, who must be about the highest selected keeper in the game, 38% at the moment, boys. And then my backup keeper, everyone's favourite Baldy, Beggars.
Love it.
Very much-
I mean, Martinez was the top scoring keeper last season,
Yeah.
and I think he was the top 10 scoring players full stop. I think got 186 points last year.
Watford away as well to start. Winnable.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we're looking at first 3 games, I don't think Leicester are too bad. I'm talking about Henderson coming in after 2 or 3 games into the season. I'll make a case for Schmeichel here. He's got Wolves at home, West Ham away, Norwich away. So I think those as an opening 3. I play him and then I swap him out. He's part of probably a 10 transfer hit I take after 2 to 3 games.
Okay.
Yep.
Defense.
You had 5 defenders then, Mike, and you tell us.
Should we go? You want all 5?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. So stop me if you've got any of these lads. Ben Chilwell.
Nope.
He's had the summer off, hasn't he? Really?
I took him out today.
Really? I mean,
turned into you.
But for swimming on some inflatable unicorns, he did very little over the summer. So I think at 6 million, he's well rested and ready and raring to go. He was very popular last season as a pick. He got a consistent run of games. So yeah, Chilwell for me. Digne, we talked about earlier. I think a 5.5 mil with those run of games, I think he's worth having. Luke Shaw.
Hello.
Again, 5.5. You've got Shaw?
Yeah.
I was a bit nervous because I heard he played with broken ribs during the games, and I figured
Is that right?
something might be happening there. But he played in the friendly at the weekend.
Yeah,
so
looked good. 52% of the players have picked Luke Shaw.
Wow.
Does show
Crazily high.
Perform well with injuries. I've got a bad back, and I still turned in that performance tonight. So
okay. Next up for me, watched him on the Community Shield, and he was on corners for Leicester. Ryan Bertrand, 5 mil. They lost Fofana to injury now, a long-term injury. Looks like he'll be starting for them at left back, and like I say, he's on some of their set pieces. So and they've got a good first 3 games. So again, Bertrand for me, I think at 5 mil is one that a lot of people will overlook, but I like him. And then finally, making up the numbers, really, probably bench fodder for me, but I've got Eric Dyer at 4.5.
Again, we don't know what's going to happen with Spurs. We don't know who Nuno's going to go with, do we?
No. It'd be interesting to see who's the lad that they Doherty that they got from Wolves. Actually played brilliantly under Nuno at Wolverhampton Wanderers. Whether he now gets a run in the side for Spurs. If he does, he's somebody that I'd definitely be keeping half an eye on because he does enough bomb forward. But yeah, 4.5 mil for Dyer. Like I say, he's probably bench fodder with those first 4 I mentioned. I think pretty strong options.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. Phil, what's yours?
So yeah, like I say, I've got a few issues here, boys. I've turned my team upside down. I've got Ben White in for Arsenal, 4.5 million. I've got 8 Nuri for Wolves. They like playing with wing backs. Apparently, this new manager, so he was 4.5, and if he starts, I think he'll be good value. I've got Tsimikas, as discussed, Liverpool player, 4 million. If he plays, then it might look shrewd for a few weeks. So I've got Tsimikas. I've got Amati for the same reason from Leicester. They are really short on defenders.
Wow.
He's another 4 million defender, Daniel Amati.
Okay.
He played in the Community Shield, didn't he?
It's nearly as good as Ndidi.
He's this year's Tyreek Mitchell.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. And finally, I've got my biggest tip for any defender in the game, and that I've just seen he's got a knock, 75% chance of playing, so hopefully he'll play. and that is Firpo of Leeds, who I think is going to be.
Firpo?
Yeah, I think I
Oh,
could
their
see
new
him
signing.
being this year's Stuart Dallas. He bombs on. He's replacing Alioski, who's gone strangely. He wanted to go. So Firpo, he's 5 million. They got him from Barcelona. He's only owned by 1.2% of players, and I can see him going off this season. This may well be the sound clip that makes it into the the first week's season podcast, but I think Firpo, he's my big tip this year.
I mean, that is a defence, if you don't mind me saying, that smacks of someone who's gone for 3 Galacticos in midfield.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You should see the rest of my team. Yeah,
I guess
As previously mentioned.
we have to keep that in mind a little bit. Okay, Ant.
So Luke Shaw, as with you, Mike. Now, this was a player that I've only bought in today. I've always said previously I wouldn't bring him in because of how much he is, 7.5 million, but TAA. Mainly because of their good start to the season, fixture-wise. High ownership there at the moment, 30%. Kieran Tierney, boys. Arsenal. Yeah. I've picked him, set pieces, low 5 million. I think's pretty cheap. Again, fairly low ownership, 8.4% for him. And a player from the 6th best defence in the Premier League last season, Lewis Dunk of Brighton. £5 million, 6.9% ownership, so nice and low. Potential differential, good fixtures to start the season. And my 5th and final, a defender who is only starting on the bench purely because of the difficult fixture, is Luke Ayling of Leeds, away to Man United to start. But he's obviously got potential with home games coming after that. They've got Burnley as well and Everton. He's a good option to come into my back 4 that I'm going to start with. So that is my 5, boys.
There's some real big hitters that none of us have gone for currently. So Diaz, who's the 3rd most owned defender.
Creswell was another one I was thinking of, boys. West Ham.
Yeah, Soufal with West Ham, 5 million he is, and was really attacking last year. Maguire, Stones, who apologies to the person who told me, but he never came off the bench for City last year. So if he didn't start, he wasn't one of those irritants that came on for the last 5 minutes and got you a point.
He just signed a new 5-year contract today, I saw.
Did he?
Well. Yeah.
I think he's 5.5 million.
Me and him go way back as well.
Of course.
I mean, I think you're referencing the triple captain scenario last year.
That was fairly insane.
I don't think I've ever mentioned it before, but we did a skydive together. Remember that?
What?
Me and John Stones.
What?
I'm trying to work out if this is a joke.
It feels like there's some pun.
It feels like a build up to a pun.
No, not at all. No. And we had like the big wings and no, remember?
Or maybe you did a sky.
Caught me to fly. That's all I've got, really.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Courage. Anyway, sorry.
Should we talk about midfield, boys?
Hang on a second. Hang on. No.
Yeah.
Have I done the wrong lyrics? Does it not even work on that level?
I mean, what song were we singing?
Taught me to fly. So come on, courage. Teach me to be shy. Because if I had
Cannibal by Damien Rice.
Oh, well, and latterly by Little Mix, yes.
Oh, wow.
I was doing Damien Rice's rather than Jesse from Little Mix.
Right, so what's John Stones got to do with this?
He's taught me to fly. Stones taught me to fly.
Gosh,
he's gone full Ronan Keating.
Reaching into the depths. This what
it's
a
very
low.
late at night, boys. It's very late at night now.
It's nearly my birthday, so
I think Mike's mind has been blown by my crazy stats.
Connor Cody, 4.5 million. He's only got 8.5% ownership. He's cheap. Okay,
so I'm moving into midfield now.
Target. So okay, cool. Moving to midfield.
Sorry,
he's full of magnums.
I'm going to talk about midfield, and we're the midfield. Have you thought of your prize yet? Because we're at midfield now.
Let me tell you, I won't be. My prize will be a surprise. Because
I mean, that is rubbish. I mean, okay, my birthday present to you tomorrow is going to be a surprise.
The problem is the prize is for the person who gets the lowest points this week. So it's good that you've got your prize lined up.
No, we all contribute a prize to start the hamper off. Give it a bit of wow factor.
Yeah.
I've got a good one, boys.
Oh, have you?
Oh, What, your prize?
Yeah.
Go on and reveal it now.
What about a Nez?
What?
Yeah.
An original Nez?
An original Nez? Yeah.
Hey,
Why not?
that'd be worth more than £5, mate. I'd bank that if I were you.
No,
I
he's
mean,
locked it in.
it's just collecting dust in one of my old cupboards. I'm more than
that's
happy
brilliant.
to give it away for the hamper.
That is a great prize. Don't talk him out of it, Phil. That's a
I'll
great
give
prize.
you £10 for it.
15. But no, great
16.
prize. 17.
Sold.
18.
I'll give you 20 quid for it.
Oh.
Right. I'm changing my mind. I'll tell you what is my second, my backup
Oh.
plan as I'm keeping my Nez. Nigel Mansell's autobiography.
Oh,
What a read that is. No. Doesn't need to be.
Just okay. I'll see how
It's a
much that is on
quality
Amazon in a minute. We'll check whether it qualifies for £5 or more.
It's definitely worth more than £5. It's like new.
Let me talk you through my midfield then, lads.
Please, please. Don't
sing
it.
We talked about Liverpool later on. My only Liverpool asset, Diego Jota, at 7.5. I have for now gone Fernandes, but he will be part of a swap in a couple of weeks for Sancho. So I know that there's going to be a bit of movement there. The rest of my team I'm very happy with and won't be swapping out, he says. But yeah, I've got...
You will.
Yeah. Jack Grealish, I've put him in. I think he'll start. I think I read an article this week. I don't know why or who, but it said that he's likely to start every week. And it's
okay, cool.
That doesn't sound like something Pep would do.
Well, I'm convinced he's going to be a regular starter, so I've put him in 8 mil. Next one, bit of a wild card this one, but I'm going to give it a whirl. I liked him towards the end of the season. Kai Havertz at 8.5 million. Really like to look at Chelsea this season.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see what happens if Lukaku comes in where he fits, but he was pretty much playing through the middle, wasn't he? So
it's a really good pick. Yeah, really good pick.
Yeah, Havertz at 8.5. And then finally, one for in a couple of weeks' time, because the fixtures aren't too brilliant for him to start with, but Rafinha at 6.5 million.
I've also got Rafinha. I think Leeds last season proved that they were fixture proof.
So it's a midfield that's missing like big hitters. I've got no Salah, no Mane, no De Bruyne, no Sterling. I haven't got any of those big spend players. I think the highest I'm spending. Oh, sorry, I've got Bruno, haven't I? But I won't have. If I fast forward 2 weeks, my highest player will be Sancho. Sorry, at 9.5.
So you're going for a good average squad that's well balanced.
Spread like a funeral wake. There'll be a good spread.
I mean, a wedding would have been more cheerful.
Yeah, a wedding, yeah.
Or a birthday party, but apparently that's not happening.
I think at a funeral you appreciate the food more than you do at a wedding. Yeah, because weddings. I prefer a buffet to a sit-down 3-course meal.
Yeah, but sometimes you'd have a
I'd
buffet
rather
at a
be
wedding.
at a wedding, marginally.
Yeah.
I don't really like weddings, but I would rather be at one of those marginally than a wake, obviously. But
big announcement tonight. Mike prefers weddings to funerals. Huge
Just.
news. This is crazy. That's a crazy stat.
But not because of the buffet.
Hold on. Hold on. It's Mike's crazy stat. He prefers weddings to funerals.
What's happening to us? The season's not even started yet, boys.
Midfielders. Oh, dear.
No off-piste.
So who have you got, lads? Phil, let's go to you again.
Yeah, let's go to Phil. So I've got Rafinha. I think Leeds are hopefully going to be fixture-proof. 6.5 million for a player who's that exciting to watch. Yes, please. I've got Billy Gilmore because he's been on set pieces for Norwich. Billy Gilmore's gone on loan to. He's 4.5 million. He's been on set pieces for Norwich in the.
He's going to start.
Friendlies. Yeah, that's
why
he's on loan to Norwich.
No, in your team.
Oh no, he's on my bench. But I'm telling you, all my
goodness.
5 midfielders. He's on my bench, but he's 4.5 million. He is what you might call an enabler, because my other 3 midfielders are Fernandes, Mane, and Salah, and so
you've gone big.
Yeah,
the Mane Salah double up is so 2 years ago, Phil.
Oh, it feels like it is so 2 years ago. But if you look at the premiums, they should be guaranteed to play. Like Fernandes, they should be guaranteed to play. Unlike De Bruyne, Sancho, he's expensive, isn't he? And some of the Chelsea lads. But I really, apparently Mane's been tearing it up in pre-season, and I know that Salah will come good come the season start. So I don't know if I'm going to have Fernandes. If I drop one of those three, it may well be Fernandes, just to be a bit different from kickoff. So yeah, Fernandes, Mane, Salah, Rafinha, and Gilmore. They're my 5.
Okay. Right, you went.
So I've gone Salah, as we've talked about. And I think it'll be my captain week 1. Now, this is where my midfield starts to weaken slightly.
Well, after one player.
Yeah, after one player, yeah. James Maddison, next up. Leicester, a team actually I could have picked out as fixtures. Got some nice winnable games to start with. We've just mentioned him, boys, actually, as a potential pick. Damari Gray for Everton. Nice winnable game to start with if he starts home to Southampton. Only 0.4% ownership, boys. There we go. He could be a good punt. And
Please
then my last
this team in.
Pardon?
Please tell me tonight you're locking this team in.
Absolutely not.
Brilliant.
Second Leicester asset, Yuri Tillemans. Again, nice home game to start. And Smith Rowe, boys. Smith Rowe, boys. England's next big thing.
Budget? Have you got like 10 million in the bank?
No, my budget's all gone, boys. On Begovic.
I like Smith Rowe at 5.5. I think he might not be a bad option. I think Saka as well at 6.5 is worth a look, but
not sure he'll start.
They're very inconsistent, Arsenal, and that midfield. I mean, Tielemans, not for me, Clive.
I love Tielemans. Tielemans got 133 points last season, boys. Yeah, I think he goes under the radar. Yeah,
you take Tielemans and Maddison over Barnes.
Yeah, at the moment.
Bizarre picks. I mean, this reeks of classic Anthony. His team on paper is incredibly boring.
Yeah,
it's
incredibly
really
boring. Says the man who's gone Salah and Mane.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that boring or is that exciting?
Well, sorry. How's having a player with 0.4% ownership? How's that boring?
And I would say your midfield is crazy.
Yeah, nearly as crazy as my stats.
Okay, let's move on to forwards because I need to go to bed. You
go to bed. I'll edit this into the early hours of my birthday.
I mean, we are heading into the graveyard slot, so unfortunately, there's no buffet, Mike.
We barely mentioned it. Okay, so I've got a front three of Danny Ings, Antonio, who is 31 now. I didn't get to that on the Who Am I earlier on. And Joshua King at just 5.5 million.
You do love a bit of Josh King.
I just think he's going to score goals. I think he's gone to a team that suits him. I think he'll be their main man up front. Deeney is no longer their first choice. Andre Gray is on his way out. Isaac's success has always been a peripheral figure.
João Pedro?
Yeah, maybe.
He did it for him last season, didn't he?
Yeah, championship there.
Yeah, I think Josh King will get a really good run in the team, and I think he'll score goals. And I think 5.5 million is really, really cheap for a proven goal scorer in the Premier League. He scored 16 goals when he played through the middle for Bournemouth that season. And I think he's a very capable player. I think he'll get goals and he'll get assists. 5.5 million anyway. I think if you're looking at an enabler, if you're looking at spending 5.5 million, I'd have Josh King over Smith Rowe.
All right,
that's all I have to matter. Danny Ings,
fine.
A lot of people are with me on Ings, as you mentioned earlier, and I think Antonio at 7.5. He's sure to start. My only worry with West Ham is their European exploits. They've got quite a thin squad, and they're involved in the Europa League this season. So, little bit concerned about West Ham as a whole. But their opening fixtures, West Ham play Newcastle, Leicester, Palace, and Southampton their first four. So I'd expect them to pick up some points there.
I tell you what, boys, I'll admit my team's awful, but both of you, are you locking that team in, Mike?
Oh, I'm 100% locked in. No changes made. 100% locked in.
It's all talk, Mike. Don't listen to him. He's just giving. He says, "Oh, team's boring. It's rubbish. It's going to take me 7 months to even catch you up."
I'm just going to recap my whole squad, boys. Listen very carefully. Schmeichel and Henderson in goal. My back five of Chilwell, Digne, Shaw, Bertrand, Dyer. My midfield, Jota, Fernandes, Grealish, Havertz, Rafinha. And up top, Ings, King, Antonio. There aren't many duds in there, lads. Many duds
but have you got? You haven't got Damari Gray?
I'm really happy with that squad. I'm surprised. There's
That's decent for 100 mil, mate. You've done well to get that in for 100 mil.
Yeah, I think it's a good spread, and I think it offers me. And I think we've said already we're going to need it this season. It offers me a strong bench.
I'm happy that you're happy.
Thank you.
My front three boys: Jamie Vardy. He's always done me well. My third and final Leicester asset, Callum Wilson, and I've also joined you on the Danny Ings train. Really good winnable fixtures. Scored already, isn't he, for Villa, I think? Yeah. So Vardy, Callum Wilson. Again, Newcastle got some winnable fixtures to start with. Cal knows where the goal is. I think he scored 40% of Newcastle's goals last season. Danny Ings. So I quite like my front three at the moment. I don't think that's an area I'm going to look at. Midfield boys, however, might need some work before Friday.
Well, it's a lot of investment in your strike force, to be fair. I mean, when we were backing on your team, we hadn't heard your strike force.
I do like having a strong front three.
It's weird, isn't it? Because the whole Kane saga is putting people off him.
I think.
I mean, he's not trained, is he?
I think once the Kane situation is resolved, I will then be wildcarding to shoehorn him in somehow.
Resolved in what way? If he goes to City?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once the transfer window closes, I wouldn't have him in my team at this moment in time when there's so much uncertainty and it's difficult for his head to be straight. So I'd wait for and even if he goes to City, I'd give him a couple of games to bed in. So yeah, I'll be waiting until the transfer window's shut and probably then be hitting wildcard. We'll see.
If you're wildcarding early and if Spurs get the City game out of the way, Dele Alli is 6.5. We mentioned it on the other week. Son has gone up to 10 million this year. A lot of weight is going to be on those two going forward. And potentially Lucas Moura, who's been begging for starts, 6.5 million. He's not a bad player. And
6.5 is cheap. He's dropped a million
cheap
on last year. 7.5 last year. So
not to go off on a Spurs tangent, but they bought Brian Gill, as we discussed the other week. Yeah, and they've got Romero in, who's 5 million, but he is slightly injured apparently. So in defence, my three strikers, Ivan Toney, just because that way I can afford my midfield. Callum Wilson as well. I agree with Ant. The fixtures for Newcastle at the start are very tasty, and he just scores goals. If someone's involved in goals at Newcastle, it's Callum Wilson. 7.5 million, only owned by 6.3% of all teams. And then King Bamford is there. He is only 8 million, which is still very decent value.
Oh, he's still got him.
19% ownership.
Is he starting for you against Man
ownership?
19% only. Yeah. Are you saying that as in you're surprised how high or how low, Mike?
Yeah, very much how high.
Yeah, I mean, he feels like a Kiwi Amici for me. One season wonder.
Yeah, I've got 3 Leeds players, so I'm really hoping they continue what they did last season, because otherwise there's a lot of transfers to make to get them out. But yeah, Bamford at 8 million, he's my sort of star player.
Wow.
Now that is your soundbite. There you go.
Well, there we go, lads. So really, those are our teams. Do you want to I've read through my squad for kind of some context. Phil, do you want to read through yours?
Yeah, starting 11 is Sanchez, Firpo, White, Tsimikas, Fernandes, Rafinha, Mane, Salah. Just concentrate on those 4. Wilson, Bamford, Toney. And then on the bench, I've got Sondergaard, Aït-Nouri, Gilmore, and Amati.
Nice. Well, boys, I've got Martinez, Shaw, TAA, Tierney, Dunk, Salah, Maddison, Tillemans, Vardy, Wilson, Ings.
It's not bad, actually.
Thanks. And Gray, Smith Rowe, and Ayling on the bench with King Beggars. Yeah,
it's good that you've got 3 players on the bench that should all play, actually, to be fair.
Well, we need those bench options, don't we? As you've just discussed with COVID and everything else, you can't. I don't think you can have a bench just for the £4 or £5 million players, can you?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, lads, quick update before we finish. First of all, our league code, Phil, if you wouldn't mind sharing that with the good listeners.
Would I mind sharing that? You just give me a moment and you carry on talking.
Thank you, from Singapore and beyond. But before we do that, I have been doing some research. Can you just clarify, is it Nigel Mansell, My Autobiography, or Nigel Mansell, Nigel Mansell Staying on Track?
Oh, it might be Staying on Track. Let me have a little look.
Okay.
It'll be whichever the latest. It's a very good read, Mike. You know, as a motorsport enthusiast, you would definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We know how much you love your Formula One stuff.
Or was it Nigel Mansell, The Lion at Bay?
Oh, look, here you go. Look, Nigel Mansell Staying on Track, £9 at Amazon.
Yeah.
There we go,
yeah,
boys. It's in. It's in.
Okay. Right. Nigel Mansell's autobiography and a Bluetooth speaker. Phil, over to you.
Well, I tell you what sells for not just £5 but £20, and that is a lovely British-made belt. And
Saw this coming a mile off. Saw this coming a mile off. Okay.
I could sort. I mean, it's all I've got right now. I haven't had time to look around.
So to clarify, so far already in the prize fund, we have a leather belt, Nigel Mansell's autobiography, and a Bluetooth speaker.
Amazing.
Exciting.
It's got to be worth playing just for these amazing prizes.
There'll be another 38 prizes.
There will indeed. The league code is as follows. Join us, please. 11 and then lowercase L 0 lowercase A M. So all lowercase letters. It's 11 L 0 A M. That's nice and easy to remember. 11 L-O L 0 A M. Good.
Thank you. Well, gents, this has run on far too long, and thank you everyone for listening. We are on Twitter at FPL Threesome Pod. If you want to send an email with any exciting stories of how your fantasy football week 1 goes, it is fantasythreesomepod at gmail.com. That'd be exciting. And
boys, we're at PO Box 21, SB6 3BL.
Excellent, thank you. And hope everyone has a fun game week, boys. Genuinely, good luck. And this isn't me being smug. I don't want to win it this year because Ant gets all salty.
I don't get all salty. I just get annoyed. Mate, before we go, happy birthday to you for tomorrow. Another year nearer to 40. So congratulations, mate.
That's lovely. It really is.
It seems like a dig as well as a happy birthday.
I mean, you say that I'm only 8 days younger than you, so.
Ant, do you want to just make up a crazy stat to finish?
Phil loves cheese nearly as much as he loves us.
I would say more.
Oh, okay. Mike eats 4,000 Magnums a year.
Crazy stat. That is crazy, boys. I've got to edit this podcast, so before my birthday, ideally.
I'll finish. I'll finish on the crazy stats.
Go on.
Peaches.
Super crazy. This
hair. They have hair.
Peaches have hair. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye now.
Oh, I should say.
Oh no!
Don't forget.
Our
fantasy threesome punt, which we do every week during fantasy Premier League season.
We better quickly do one now, boys.
Yes, we need to do our fantasy threesome punt. You pick a player with under. I'm
going straight in there now, boys. While you boys mess around, Damari Gray, 0.4% ownership, job done.
You pick a player under 2% ownership. If they come in, you could be picking one of our captains next week. And this is where it all gets fun because we start getting angry when you start stitching us up, Lewis Pearson. Okay, Mike, you got someone?
No.
Excellent. Well, you forced me to give away a belt. So
hold on. Okay.
He's forced me to give away Nigel Mansell.
Fantasy. How do I do this now?
I'm going Dele Alli. Oh, they're playing Man City. I'm going Conser.
Too late. Locked in.
Conser, locked.
I'm going for Ryan Bertrand, 1.5%.
So we've got Conser, Bertrand, and Damari
Gray.
Okay.
I have now got a crazy fact to finish with.
Oh,
is it about peaches?
No, humans. You can go straight into the music off the back of this film because it'll be wow factor. Humans are the only animals whose brains shrink.
End